All right, it's another very wonderful day in the history of Nigeria. My name is Dapo Banjo. Welcome to Crossfire. This is Channel 196 on Star Times. And this morning we have fantastic stories to bring your way. And we have a major topic to treat. And you and I and Ishoma is in the studio. We'll just be running through this. And as a matter of fact, we will like to talk about something we have discussed about before, and we will be doing the same thing again, and that's because there is no end to the most wanted list in the entire world, and that is the list of ministerial appointees in Nigeria. Now, the final ministerial nominees for President Goodluck Jonathan, President Muhammadu Buhari, as government received, an ovation, let me put it that way, or acceptance at the National Assembly yesterday. The final names were received by Senate President Bukola Saraki in his office and were brought by President Buhari's Chief of Staff, Abba Yari, and then another senator, who assisted, the senior National Assembly person in charge of the House, Kawu Sumaila. It was previously reported that the National Assembly will not begin its approval of vetting process until President Buhari presented all the nominees. Now, reports have it that President Buhari submitted 16 additional names, to what he submitted before, making it 37 names in all. And in this second batch of the ministerial nominee, the president also announced that he will not be the Minister of Petroleum Resources, but that he will supervise that sector very closely. Now, Senate President Bukola Saraki is expected to read out the list of the second, the names that is on the second batch of the list submitted by the president, according to Mr. Yusuf Olaniyonu, the special advisor on media to the Senate president. Mr. Saraki received the list yesterday at about 4:30 p.m. And President Muhammadu Buhari also, in the company of, represented by Chief of Staff Abba Yari and the Special Advisor to the National Assembly, Kawu Sumaila, presented the list to Bukola Saraki in his office. And now that the list is already there, don't forget that we have a build-up on the ministerial list, and that is the fact that the first 21 names submitted were supposed to start their screening today. Ishoma, welcome to Crossfire. That's to just quickly cushion, the direction and the dimension of the show today and all of that. You see, because there's still a lot of hurdle about the ministerial list, and
I'm still wondering why. But it's all good. It's a nation, and Nigerians have every right to question some of the names they see on the list.
Exactly. You see, the reason why I will not, like I was saying earlier on, don't let us run the names on the list until the Senate president reads those out, those names out today. And then we will know that, okay, it's no more a rumor, because as far as I'm concerned, if the Senate president has not read out the list, then all the names that are flying may not be true. So we should just wait, and I'm very sure anytime this morning, the names on the list will be reeled out, and then we can take it off from there. Now, a very quick one. Let's take one or two stories, and then we go and have a robust discussion on that. Now, Nigeria is in danger as Lake Chad dries up. This is something that's really mind-blowing. Now, a new report, the environment audit of the drying up of the Lake Chad has warned of a dire consequence, for Nigeria and other neighboring countries if the Lake Chad basin is allowed to dry up. Now, presenting the report to President Muhammadu Buhari at the council chamber of the Presidential Villa in Abuja yesterday, the Auditor General of the Federation, now Samuel Akura, said the key message in the report is that Lake Chad is drying up very fast from about 25,000 square kilometers in 1963 to just about 1,500 square kilometer presently. Mr. Akura also noted that there is a correlation between the shrinking of Lake Chad and the current, insecurity in the northeastern part of Nigeria. I really don't know. Is it that people are fetching the water?
Well, the Lake Chad, massive volumes of water from the Lake Chad are also used to generate electricity. Of course, diminishing returns, you need to replenish the source, because if you do not replenish, you tend to lose. And that's what's happening right now. And also, the Lake Chad Basin also serves as a means of transportation for goods and services across Africa. Yeah. And also it's used for irrigation and agricultural purposes. So most of the time they're using large volumes, quantities of water from the Lake Chad, but they are not even replenishing back. That's the reason why it's drying up. And don't also forget,
what should replenish is actually rain.
Well, you understand that the northern part of the country, they do not enjoy as much rain and humidity as we do enjoy in the southern part of the country. Desertification is high within that. So the chances of the water drying up are even faster and higher. So these are some of the issues which, these are some of the problems that pose that region, because the Lake Chad Basin itself plays crucial role in preventing further desertification, desert encroachment into Nigeria. Now that it's drying up, what will happen? We're in big trouble. So the only thing that can be done now, of course, there are various things that can be done. Probably, dredge the water, and also think of how they can maybe pump in more volumes of water to make it more sufficient and protect our nation.
Now, for people who really don't have the history of the Chad, especially Lake Chad, it's actually a boundary between Nigeria. I mean, supported by a lot of states in Nigeria and and Chad and Niger and a lot of neighboring countries in Nigeria. Now, a very quick one. It's a historically large, shallow lake in Africa, which has varied in size over the centuries. Now, according to the Global Resource Information Database of the United Nations Environment Programme, it shrunk as much as 95% from 1963 up till now. But in recent past, image shows significant improvement over previous years. Now, Lake Chad is economically important, providing water to more than 68 million people living in 4 countries that are surrounding the Lake Chad. And that is Chad itself, Cameroon, Niger, and Nigeria on the edge of the Sahara Desert. It is the largest lake in the Chad Basin. Now, the economic importance, like you said, and so many valuable, qualities or, let me say gains, from ensuring that the Chad is well, watered. It cannot be overemphasized. Now, over the years, if you look at it very well, this is the only medium, this is the only waterway between Nigeria and all the neighboring countries, Cameroon, and all of that. And then it has strengthened over the years from what I studied, the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and all these other, neighboring countries. And economic-wise, this is the only way, a lot of farm produce, in the northern part of Nigeria are able to, to be transferred for marketing purposes, and all of that, to Cameroon, to Chad, to Niger, and all of that. So. Sure. I really don't know if this is strictly, a unifying factor between Nigeria and those nations that we're talking about. How come it's posing, the danger is towards Nigeria more than those countries?
The danger also, it's not just, we're not the ones suffering the impact alone, but there's this popular saying that if your next door neighbor fails to clean up their environment, does that mean you would not clean up your own environment? We all differ. Of course, they are facing some of these issues. Look at Niger, for example, Cameroon, and they're facing the impact. But if these nations cannot collectively come together and find a lasting solution, that doesn't mean Nigeria shouldn't step up to its responsibility to do that. Do not forget also that there's been some sayings that, the dry up and the desertification in the north has also been a contributory factor to the rising insurgency in the northeastern part of the country, because a lot of people are out of jobs. Many of them can no longer farm. Many of them have lost their lands to desertification. So we are suffering more adverse effects because of this. So that's the reason why I think Nigeria should step up to its game and not wait for Cameroon or Niger to rise up to it. If they refuse or if they fail to stand up, well, Nigeria should take the bold step, not because we have so much money to pump in, but because we want to protect our own citizens.
All right. Okay, let's quickly tell you that Chad actually means large expanse of water. And now that we don't have as much water in the Chad, then there's a very major problem. Now, let's quickly tell you this also. that Lake Chad is mainly in the far west of Chad, bordering on the northeastern part of Nigeria. Now, the Chad River, fed by the tributary, the Longon River, provides over 90% of Lake Chad's water, with a small amount coming from the Yobe River in Niger and Niger. Now, despite high level of evaporation, the lake is fresh water. Over half of the lake area is taken up by its many small islands, including, Bogomeron and all of that. And then you have the mud bank, and then a belt of the swampy land across the middle divides in the northern and south halves of the shorelines, are largely occupied, by a lot of other things. Now, anyway, for me, I'm believing very strongly that this information is vital, and Nigeria should step up, to this information, because if it's going to benefit us and at the same time benefit, Chad, Cameroon, and Niger, then we should sit down. I think the president should invite them, and then they can sit down and see how we can water back or fill or ensure that we don't have, a dry up in the Chad area. Now, we'll bring you more stories on that, as we have more details. Now, Nigeria has 5 million internally displaced persons. Now, for the very first time, anyway, since there have been, a lot of issues at both the lower and the upper chamber of the National Assembly, and they're just trying to get their bearing now. They've settled down, they've resumed, and, work seems to be, going quite well. Is coming out for the very first time from government, recognizing the fact that we have IDPs and that there are quite many, and that their camps are not, anything to write home about. Now, contrary to official figures, which place the number of internally displaced persons at 2.1 million, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, says the figure is as high as 5 million people displaced by the activity of Boko Haram sect. Now, speaking when he received the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, Miss Angel Dekonge at Tangara, in his office, Honorable Dogara reiterated the commitment of the lower house to the cause of the IDPs and to rebuild the Northeast. Now, the Speaker added that a House Standing Committee on Public Safety and National Intelligence will be mandated to handle issues relating to IDPs, while the House would consider the possibility of creating a standing committee on IDPs. Now, the concern, do you know the angle to which, when I heard this story yesterday, it pains my heart. How could you not have an accurate number of persons? They are alive, they are not dead. And so I begin to wonder, and I query. I think NEMA should be queried. You are the one who brings the traumatized people, whether in places where flooding has happened, whether it's due to activity of Boko Haram, but you have been sitting on these IDPs. These camps have been in your care. And yet you have an underestimation. Do you know how that means 2.9 people in addition?
Unaccounted
for 2.9 million people.
Let's be fair and honest.
So how have they been, what criteria have they been feeding them?
Exactly.
That means there is no head count to say we are actually making breakfast
for this number of people.
Exactly, for the number of people in the camp.
Even healthcare also.
No wonder.
Material resources which these people need to go, to live daily on. It's
so very bad. Let's take this call. Kende, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Doctor. I'm Barista Joma.
Thank you very much, boss.
Yeah. Hello?
Please go ahead and make your contribution, sir.
Okay. The discussion that you are presently talking about, I think is very pertinent that we need to take adequate data of the IDP. It's very unfortunate that this problem of not taking correct data has been affecting us so badly. So please, the House of Rep Speaker is actually saying the right thing. Nigeria, we need to put our hands together now to do things the right way it should be done. Secondly, sir, I want to make my contribution on the screening that will be taking place today.
Please go ahead.
I just feel that the senators should put aside all their party affiliation and make sure that they follow strictly the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to ensure that the right thing is done. Let us put partisanship apart and do the right thing for the people of Nigeria. And we hope that through this screening, the people that are coming on board will be ready to serve Nigeria in the capacity in which Mr. President deemed fit that they should start. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, Kenny. Fantastic. Thank you so very much for those insightful thoughts. Now, I mean, Ishoma, we have a major problem in our hands, a very major one. And you see, until all these entities and institutions begin to have respect for humanity, it's so very painful. How possible could you have left 2.9 people out of a data of 5 million, and we've been reporting 2.1 million?
And the possibility is that it's even higher than 5 million. There's every possibility that we have more internally displaced persons.
So it simply means 2 people over the years, if there is any process, obviously they are being fed in one way or the other, maybe not adequately, but it simply means, I mean, let's just look at it from a data point of view. It simply means let's assume that they are making provision for 2.1 million people to feed across all the IDP camps on everyday basis. That means one person, I mean, 2 people have actually been eating. No, it should be more than that. Maybe 2.5 people have been eating the ration provided for one person.
No, but I'm just thinking now, because if they could leave out 2.9 million people out of this number or figure rather, could it be that these individuals are not resident within the internally displaced camps? Could it be that probably they had to relocate and find some other place for them to stay, or they're accommodated by relatives and loved ones? I'm thinking, because it doesn't make any sense that this figure will have this high number of, even higher than what they're reporting, will have this large number unaccounted for. Now look at it, most of these people have suffered trauma over time because of some of the things they have witnessed, the killings and all of that. There is no sort of mental health care given to these people. We're still struggling and clamoring and begging the government to pay adequate,
start educating them.
Educating the children and teaching the women there and the men, teaching them how to be able to grow their lives again, so that by the time they leave these camps, they can go back to society with a ready skill which they can begin to use to generate revenue for themselves. So if all of this is happening now, that's why I'm wondering, maybe they were not within the camp. Maybe they were outside the camp, so NEMA couldn't have access to get their figures and get proper data.
So where is the speaker? Where is the speaker getting these details from?
That's some of the things.
If the speaker is getting these details that we have 5 million as against 2.1 million reported, it simply means there is one way that one can actually have a clear picture of the number of people in the IDP. I mean that constitute the IDPs.
Yeah, well, he said people. He said about we have as high as 5 million people who have been internally displaced. Now you can do random sampling. For example, in this particular community, you can say, okay, there were, let's say 100 people used to live in this particular community, but now it has been destroyed. It's now a ghost town. In another community, this setting up in another community. So you could have, an aggregate, an idea of, okay, with this, if you add up the number of people who have been living, these are the number of people who have been displaced. But what we talk about in the IDP camps, probably we have 2.1 million people in the IDP camps, then 2.9 scattered all around. Some of them probably also fled Nigeria, probably to Cameroon or to other neighboring countries. Probably some other ones who have relocated to the southern part of the country to stay. You never can tell.
Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Let's go on a short break now.
So, did you like what you just saw? I know you did. It's very simple. If you want to see more, just subscribe to our channel right now.